Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Or welcome to the first video. We're going to be reviewing the Logitech G Cloud. This console came out about 3 years ago. It runs on Android. Android 11 has been updated past that. There still are updates that are panned out to these things every once in a while, security updates and UI changes. This also has every button you could think of. It's got your A, B, X, and Y buttons. They're a little mushy, but they're not. They kind of remind me of Switch, but a little less tactile. They're more soft buttons, and I quite like the feel of them. And then you have your D-pad. It's quite a large D-pad. It's a little mushy. Not the worst D-pad ever. It's pretty easy to use. It's quite enjoyable. Maybe not the best for every 2D game, but it works pretty well. Then you have your joysticks, which they feel amazing for a handheld console. Definitely better than the Switch or any of those kind of consoles. Then here you got your USB-C port, and you have your aux port, which is nice. I love that they include aux, and we don't have to use audio from the USB-C port. We also have two speakers. They sound amazing. We've got a volume button up here, and we have the power switch right here. We have our bumpers, which are click bumpers, and then we have our analog triggers, which they're a little small, but I don't mind. They're actually quite easy for me to use. We also have our home button, and we have the Logitech button. We have our start and select button. They're both at the top. They're not that difficult to get to. They are in a little weird place, but you do have your home and Logitech button where these buttons would normally be on a normal controller. So let's turn this thing on. So you hold down the switch to turn it on, and then it boots up. It's running Android, obviously. Its own special version. There are two modes. There's the game mode, and there's the tablet mode. Primarily, I'll be sticking to the game mode because I do prefer when I open up an app, everything else is closed behind it. That's one of the plus sides to this game mode, is that it closes out of the next app. So you have your lock screen here. You just have to long press any button, any key. So I'm just gonna hold on this A button, and once it unlocks, as you can see, I have quite a bit of games on here for us to test. It's got a very nice entrance. It kind of reminds me of the Xbox home screen. You go all the way across. It just cycles through all of your apps. You got messages. You've got your account. You've got albums. You've got settings. You've got sleep mode. You have search. You have offers. And then you have your Google search bar there as well. And yeah, we're going to be testing out a few games on this. So first, we're probably going to start with something that you can just download on this is primarily a cloud handheld, but we're going to completely negate the fact of cloud gaming because I am not the biggest fan of game streaming or any of that. I always preferred a native play. So we are going to start with Minecraft. I downloaded this from the Google Play Store, and we're going to see how it runs. I've played on this quite a bit past couple days. I got this at a pawn shop for about $150. I would recommend that's a good price for this. If you're going to get any higher, I wouldn't recommend buying this. But this has a beautiful display, a very, very bright display, and it's very nice. It's also got a touchscreen because it's a tablet. Let's open up a world. I started up a world here to test out. It's in survival. See how this runs. I'm going to show you the settings I'm using to make this run well. And I'm also going to just kind of show you around this console. The back doesn't really have anything on there. This is not rubber. That's plastic. I'm sure you've seen people emulate games on here. We're not really going to touch too much on the emulation when it comes to traditional consoles because there's videos all over the internet that show you how to do that. Very, very popular handheld to turn into an emulation station. But I'm here for native gaming, which is my preferred. We're going to use some emulators, but you guys will have to figure out that later. You may have seen one of them at the start. So Minecraft here, it runs quite well actually. It has native controls. It's pretty easy to to where it runs perfectly. There's no frame drops. When I did first start the game, I did have some stuttering, and that's because the settings were set to their set settings, and I just went down to my video settings. I have a render distance at 9. I turned off beautiful skies and smooth lighting. I turned off camera shake, view bobbing. I made the UI classic because I definitely prefer the classic. This does not have the shaders. I don't know if those are in the texture setting. I haven't really played Minecraft in a while. No, I don't see it. So I haven't really played Minecraft in a while. Let's put on that classic texture pack. Can you put it on from here? No, I think you have to do that in settings. So we're here. The game runs pretty well. As you can see, you just kind of run through and there's no frame drops. It runs, I'd say, a lot better than the Nintendo Switch. I have a Switch Lite. This also has a lot bigger screen than the Switch. It's got a great display. The buttons are very responsive and tactile. I love this analog trigger. It just feels so good for games like this. It just reminds me of playing on the Xbox. So that's pretty much how this runs. This runs really well. You may get a few stutters if you have your settings up higher, or if you want to have higher chunk distance, or if you want to have good settings. I would definitely recommend turning your... and we're sinking to the bottom of this powdered snow. I haven't really played Minecraft. I don't know if it it does injure you. So we're going to actually probably freeze to death before we can reach... I think I see a village down there, actually. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I mean, you can see it runs pretty well. I mean, when you're loading in, it does just have a slight stutter there. But nothing game-breaking. I would give this experience a 10 out of 10 on this console. Maybe a 9.5 with some of the limits that this console does have. But all in all, it runs really well. I've been playing it for a while, so my experience with playing Minecraft it's been great. It's a great console for this. You want to get a Switch. They have upped in price, but if you can get a Switch Lite pretty cheap, I mean, I would definitely recommend getting a Switch Lite. But this does run the game better than a Switch. It runs it at 60 FPS. It runs it, doesn't have any stuttering, doesn't have any problems, and you can just pick up and play. And it still gets updates and all that. So you just click Y to close out of the game, but if you open up another game, it'll immediately close out of the game. But we're going to do that. And next, we're going to move on to another mobile game that I have on here, which is LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, which does have controller support. If you were wondering, this game does have controller support. And I'm pretty much made this console into a original Xbox is kind of what I was going for. But, I mean, obviously, we still have some modern games to play. I'll turn up those speakers for you. Now, the speakers are very loud. They're very nice. They're probably some of the better speakers I've heard from a handheld console in a while or any mobile device. Seems like my game suddenly closed out of it. All right, so it loads up perfectly. It sounds great. It's nice and loud. Kind of reminds me of playing on the original Xbox. And we'll just go into level 2 here. You can see I played level 1 just to test how it ran. I think there are a few little tiny stutters every once in a while. But that could just be my game not running the best, mate. I don't know. But yeah, it runs great. It looks great. Just a little bit of stutters every once in a while. Could be my version of the game. Maybe I need to get a better version. But yes, it runs great. It feels great. I do wish you could change the controls. Maybe you can in settings, because I would prefer my triggers to be the hit buttons, but it's just these face buttons, and it actually works pretty good. But this is the mobile version. This is not running on an emulator. This is native. Which maybe that's my problem. I probably need to take this guy out before I can do that. Okay, I can be able to blow this up. Boom. I'd give this, since this game doesn't run the best on anything, really, it doesn't even run well on the phones or tablets as well as it should, I'd give this a 9 out of 10. There are some stutters every once in a while. But all in all, it's a pretty well optimized game. I mean, you got your frame stutters, but it's nothing really too unplayable. It's just every once in a while. And that just happens with the mobile version of the game. I'm sure if you put this on an emulator, pretty sure this is on the GameCube. I'm not 100% sure. But if you put this on like a GameCube or a PS2 emulator, it'd probably run about the same, maybe a little better. But I don't think it would look this good. Seeing as this was made specifically for Android, it probably runs a little better than. So now we're going to move on to our next game, even though I would love to finish this level. If I'm probably going to do a gameplay of all the games I'm showing you now, like a full playthrough of maybe just one level. Maybe I'll do all the levels. Maybe we'll do other levels to show you how it runs on this channel. I do want to do a lot of things with this console, but I have other things we can check out too. I have a few laptop videos that are going to be coming up. I have a few Chromebook videos that are coming up. I've recently stumbled upon mini Chromebooks and mini laptops for the price of $3.99. So I have plenty of stuff to test other games with, and so we're going to move on to our next game. So let's click the home button, and we're going to go to a game that everyone loves, and had a recent new release of a new game, Hollow Knight. So we're going to click on Hollow Knight. See, this is when you open it, it closes out of the game you opened up before, which I do like. I like not having to have processes running in the background. I think it's a very smart way to have a console like this. See how this runs. Should run just fine. Skip the cutscene. I just want to get in here and show you guys how it runs. Should run pretty good. All right. Here we go. All right. So falling down. We just run forward, I think. Okay, that's how we hit. Oh, that's a bad guy. We got him. I'll probably end up doing a playthrough on this game. I've never beat the game. I've only probably played this beginning part. Now I do feel it's difficult for me to play with my camera in front of me. So I'm not bad at the game, I swear. The buttons, the A, B, and X, Y buttons, them being mushy makes this game a little bit harder to do the parkour. But I mean, I'm just not used to playing on controllers very often. More of a computer-oriented person. Inspect. I died. But, I mean, all in all, this game runs perfectly fine. I didn't feel any drops. It's pretty responsive. So, yeah, that game actually works pretty well. If you were a fan of Hollow Knight, I mean, there's plenty of ways. I'm sure you've already played it if you're a fan. But if you want a handheld experience, and you don't have a Steam Deck or a Switch or your phone just doesn't cut it, and you want tactile controls, this is definitely a good option here. I would definitely recommend you guys get it less than $160, around the $150 price range, or even less. Let's close out of that. Ran pretty good. These past 3 games, they ran quite well, actually. Obviously, they're meant for Android devices, and that's what this is. Next, we're going to move on to a game that's a little more demanding, a little more recent. I'm sure plenty of you have played it or or like the game, or maybe you never played it and maybe you need a console to play it because you don't have a computer or your phone just doesn't run it. Fortnite. So Fortnite, very popular game, one of the most popular games. And if you haven't heard of Fortnite, I don't know what you're doing. We're going to set this down here while I log in. Yeah, but all in all, the screen is amazing. I don't have this on full brightness, but on the camera, I'm sure it looks where it would be at full brightness because I was looking at it earlier and it looked about the same. But yeah, let this load it. We're gonna let this load in. All right, so here we are in Fortnite land. It takes a couple minutes to load in because it's Fortnite mobile. It's a little slow. You can go through the shop. You can go through all of that. I'll show you all the settings I'm using. This is running natively. This is not through cloud. I know you can play this through cloud, but I do not like playing Fortnite through cloud. It definitely hinders some of your experience with the input delay. Currently, this only has a 30 FPS cap. I'm sure if you were to root this device, you could probably get it to 120 or 60 FPS. I'm sure it can go higher than that. I really wish this had the 30 FPS mark. Even if it couldn't hit it, I would still like to have a higher FPS than 30. And when the drops come, it'd only be like 30 FPS would be the drop, and the high would be like 50. That would be a lot more playable than this. So this is the same as the Switch here. It's got 30 FPS. But this does have a higher display of the screen, so that is one plus side to playing this. We'll show FPS. I'm not 3D Revolution. I have set to auto right now, but I had it at 46. Doesn't really affect your play experience when you have it on the lower things. I mean, if you turn it down to 0, it looks really bad, but you can get away with having it at 46 to 70, and it looks just the same as it would. We're gonna hop into OG Zero build. This is just my test for a lot of these consoles. Is when you play Fortnite Mobile, this is one of the better running modes. Obviously, Blitz and Reload are there too, but we want the full Battle Royale experience. You can still play normal Zero build. I just haven't been a fan of it recently with all the Halloween stuff. I've been having fun playing with my friends, but OG is definitely the de facto here because there's some items in the game right now that could cause lag, but OG doesn't really have any of that. So we're going to do OG. Also, it's just one of my favorite modes right now. I'm waiting for that Christmas season to come back up. As you can see, I mean, it looks like it's running perfectly fine. You know, you can go through, you can do your emotes and stuff. It runs really well. I love Fortnite. It's one of my favorite games, actually. Doesn't make me a loser, I swear. Messing with technology makes me a loser. But this is very nice. But as you can see, when you sit it down, it doesn't sit straight. It kind of leans back. That's because, you know, the trigger should be out here. So you have the even space where it sits like that. But it leans over a little. So here, it takes a minute for the game to actually run well when it loads in. Especially when you first download the game through the Epic Games Store. Just remember, your first game is always going to be very, very light. It's going to load everything in. But after that, the game always sits around 30 FPS. It does drop to the 20s when you're in areas like this, when you're starting up, or when you're gliding down. Sometimes you do get some FPS drops. You know, if the game let me go up to 60 FPS, I'm sure this wouldn't be as bad. We wouldn't see these massive drops like we do here. But I don't have a FPS unlocker for this. You'd have to root your device, and I am not well versed in the Android rooting at the moment. I do want to learn. I do want to do that with this device and have a revisit and with everything rooted and having higher FPS and having overclocking enabled because I feel like that'd be great. This console doesn't have overclocking, which I wish it did, but it doesn't. So we're drop down to Salty. Probably gonna die because I'm not really able to see my whole game here. But yeah. I mean, blind down, you can see there's some frame drops, but I mean, it's mostly hitting that 30 mark. It runs just like playing on the Switch Lite, but it looks better in bigger screen, more color, better color, and this has a really high color accuracy. I think it's a 93 or 94%. There's plenty of videos out there showing all those specs. I am going to show the specs of the device at the start of the video, as you saw. But I'm not really going to touch too much on it. I'm just touching on the gaming experience because that's what we're all here for. If you wanted to go see a someone else do it. I mean, these are games that people didn't really try on their console. I'm sure Minecraft was one of the ones that was tried. But I mean, I haven't seen anyone talk about Fortnite on this other than running it through cloud. And I'm just not a fan of cloud gaming. In general, I do think it's useful. I used to use it quite a bit when I would play on like Chromebooks at school and stuff like that. But I've been out of school for a little while now, in college now. So it's just been, I like to have that native experience. I don't really need to play in school. I'm probably going to die here because I don't have a shotgun, but see guy over there. And for 7, I can't really see with the distance I'm at because I have to give the camera space to see the screen, but I mean, ooh, look at that, a minigun, and we got some slurp juice. Yes, sir. This actually does run quite well, though. Surprisingly, it runs pretty well. After your first couple of matches, your game's going to run so much better. As you can see, I'm hitting that 30 FPS mark. It definitely does sometimes go above. It sometimes goes to 31 or 35, but I really wish the FPS cap on Fortnite Mobile was not 30. Even if the device couldn't run higher, I feel like they should still keep it as an option. If any Epic Games employees are watching, please make the Logitech G Cloud run it at 60 FPS, put a 60 FPS cap on it instead of the 30. Ooh, look at that chug jug. Got a minigun, we got an attack, everything. Everything you possibly want in the game. We got a good loadout here. But yeah, I mean, it runs quite well. I mean, obviously we're inside of a building, so it's going to run well. Once you get outside, maybe there will be some drops. We're going to take this rift here and drop. See, it just dropped to 9 FPS there. That's just because of the cap. It just kind of makes it not run as well. That's why I don't like having an FPS cap on the mobile version of the game. We're gonna go to a fight. I mean, the controls feel great for this. It's obviously got native controller support. You don't have to do any mapping. This is coming with a built-in control mapping. So there are some games you're gonna have to. Oh. Obviously these are bots, but you know. You couldn't tell I don't really play on controller. I'm a keyboard and mouse player. I haven't really played a lot of games on controller in a while. Only really on this thing, and maybe and then the original Xbox, which video coming out on the original Xbox soon, actually. I do want to talk about that because I do have one. I have the Duke controllers finally now, so I can do my in-depth review on why I've bought an Xbox almost 26 years later. Also, someone just shot a rocket behind me. Oh, barely missed. Boom, we got him. All right, we got the bot. It's kind of hard for me to see, but I mean, we could win this game since it's full of bots. I mean, I don't mind having bots in the lobby for a test. That's a good test. We get a lot of people around us to fight. See how we perform. I used to have a lot of more FPS dips, but after the first couple of rounds of playing this for the past couple of days, it definitely has settled. I'm sure if you have this plugged in, it would run better. But I mean, this has a great battery life. I had this running all last night, just in the home screen, and it's only 0.5%. And I'd already been using it to play games before. So it holds a really good battery life. Definitely better than some tablets, and the Switch I'd say doesn't have better battery life than this. So this has better battery life than the Switch for sure. We're just kind of running around here, seeing if we can get into some fights. Maybe we'll win the match, which would be kind of funny. I would have a screen recorder on this, but I don't want to. This only has one problem with this. It only has 64 gigabytes of internal storage, which isn't that bad actually. But you can't really have a whole bunch of big games on here. And the SD card has to be in the exFAT format. There's no FAT32, which does mean you can't have super big ROMs on there. You can't have a whole bunch of stuff. But I do want to. There we go. Another kill down the bag. That's 4 eliminations. See if we can get double digits here. That guy's probably real, so I'm probably gonna die here. Yeah. All right. Well, I died. I couldn't really see him very well, but yeah. I mean, this isn't a bad handheld. It actually runs Fortnite quite well, quite better than I actually thought it was running. I normally don't play with FPS when I play on lower end devices like this. The FPS gives me a little placebo effect. Thinking the game looks like terrible, but honestly, with the screen quality of this and having it on auto settings, I mean, it's only at 30 FPS, so you could probably crank it all the way up to 100% resolution here. It runs pretty well. It's a pretty playable experience. Obviously, your first couple of matches when you first download the game aren't going to run the best. I mean, obviously, when you boot into a new area, like into the shop, once you boot in and have everything load in, you can just cycle through just fine. So honestly, what would I give Fortnite Mobile on this? Probably a 9. I mean, I've been giving this pretty high praise here. Obviously, it's not the best way to play Fortnite on the go. I mean, I'm sure the Windows handhelds could run it better, but those also cost a lot more than this. For the price of this, you get what you pay for, and this is honestly a better experience than the Switch. So, I mean, if you're looking to play Fortnite handheld, this is definitely one of the better definitive experiences here. And I would recommend if you have one, pick it up. If you're just buying this just for Fortnite, honestly, just go for a maybe a higher powered device that can run it at 120 FPS. But if you want those built-in controls, and it's between this or the Switch, I mean, honestly, this is a pretty good pickup for the next reason I'm about to show you. So we're gonna click home screen here. We've barely lost any battery life playing these games. Obviously, we haven't played that long. So for our next game, we're gonna open up GameHub. We're gonna leave the best for last here because I got one game that definitely blows everything else out of the water here, and why I got it picked up in the first place. We're gonna start with a Windows simulation of Battlefront II. This is the 2005 version, my personal favorite version, and this actually runs really well on GameHub. I would definitely recommend you, once you have your game files that you definitely own, because I mean I do own this game. You put the files in your downloads folder, just because it's easy for it to get to, and you open it up and you click on it, and you're just able to boot up the game, and it does have a little FPS chart down here, and it runs pretty well. The controls are a little weird because this is a PC version, and you have to like map it, and I mapped it a little bit weirder than I think I probably should have, but our joystick does control our mouse cursor here in the game, so that makes it easy. We're gonna load up a campaign here. I haven't started anything yet, so let me go back. We're gonna new game. I don't know if this will be in my full screen resolution. Probably not. You can definitely make this widescreen. I don't think I did though. Maybe I did though. I can't remember. No, I did not. So you can have this game full screen, obviously, and it's not hard to do. I just forgot to do it, and it runs just fine. You can get the widescreen. You just have to go into the video settings and change it. We might be able to change it in these settings, but I am not 100% sure on that. But yeah, this is GameHub. It's made by GameSir, the people that make your Xbox controllers. I'll turn up the get some playing on here. We're gonna just be a default clone trooper here. See, I actually mapped it wrong. This is supposed to be my look around. This is supposed to be my movement, which definitely messed me up because I'm used to this side being the look for this game. It was running a nice 40 FPS. I mean, I could turn down the settings a lot more here, but I chose not to. If you see, my controls are a little bit, I mean, obviously in the game, also have my controls inverted here on accident. But you do have to configure your controls and settings. But honestly, it's not that bad of an experience. Honestly, I need to. I'm just gonna get some. Guys, this is a classic game you want to play. I mean, sure, you can download the PS2 emulator. There's a new one that just came out, but honestly, I like the PC version a little bit more. If I could get a pause button on here, that'd be nice, but we're just, doing a test here. I mean, obviously, it runs at a good 40, 45, 50 FPS. If you turn down the settings, I'm sure it runs 60, but uh, it runs quite well, actually. It runs just like you would play on a PlayStation, probably a little more FPS, a little better looking, or an Xbox, a little better looking than that. I originally did have this on a PS2 emulator, but it just doesn't run as well as I would like it to. But this GameHub runs it quite well. It already has the settings preset for me. I didn't really have to change anything. This is just with the default settings.
General Mundi to land. Take out those turrets and clear the deck.
All right. Can't remember what button I have for interact here. There we go. There we go.
One more to go.
We messed up there. But yeah, I mean, it runs quite well, even with explosions going on in this big battle.
We can begin our assault on the energy collector.
It runs pretty well.
We have to get past the shield barricade. Get behind the shield and take out the generator.
I don't have F1 mapped at the moment to turn into a hero. I kind of wish I did. Would have done that. There's definitely a lot of control stuff you have to do when you have this game. I mean, if you want to get the best experience, I would definitely recommend tuning the settings to how you like it. I'm not going to show my control scheme because it's not the best. And I actually messed up on the look and the movement area. I need to switch it back. I need to switch it the other way. I'm going to take this command post. Hold up. We had the PlayStation emulator, just didn't run this game as well as I wanted it to. So I got it on GameHub, and it runs pretty well. So we're going to close out of that. I'm sure this is the real reason why you're actually watching this video is to see the fabled Halo Combat Evolved run on this little Android device. Actually, this could work for any of your Android devices. Playing the game in general. There is a tutorial online. I'll put it in the comment section of how to get Combat Evolved on Winulator, just immediately working. I do have a container. I will show the settings for that, I guess. I currently have it on 16:9, but I have it on 720, just because that works better with the Halo Combat Evolved, just because the game's old. I have the DirectX, Direct 3D is on Windows, Direct Sounds on Windows, Direct Music is Windows. The rest is all wine until you get down to the general, which is Visual C++ Studio 10, is on Windows. The Windows Media Decoder is on Windows. So yeah, that actually is my settings for that. And then my container. I'll show you my container here. This is the only emulator I have on this thing, other than the GameHub, which is also running a version of Winulator. So edit this. Currently have that set on the lower one, but that's a different story. And we have turn up drivers, we have the DXVK, the pulse audio, we have the desktop themes light or dark, and then we have Win components, which is the same as those ones we were looking at earlier. I didn't change anything there. Environment variables, I did have to add two, which is the TU debug and the DXVK hub, which those are in that tutorial on how to play Halo Infinite, or how to play Halo Combat Evolved. Drives, I don't really have anything different there. I just have to download it on there just to make sure I have stuff. And I have the box 64 presets, the performance, drive selection essential. I have every CPU running just to get the best performance out of my emulator here. So boot up the game. It does have touch controls, but I made custom controls just so I just have the escape key down there so I can pause the game and skip cutscenes and stuff. Quick controls. Oh. But yes, I do have it in the full screen here. Controller just works natively. You do have to gamepad set up here. This did take a lot of time to get to work. This controller here didn't want to work, so I had to make sure it was on X input on this, and no presets were on for anything else other than I had this on direct input or X input, not direct input. It's on X input, and you gotta make sure this is in controller port 1. So yeah, the video settings right now, I have the resolution set. First rate is 60 hertz. I don't have spectacular off. I have everything pretty low. Decals are on yes. Texture quality medium, and this gets me about 60 to in the graphic intensive areas 45 FPS. It actually runs quite well. See what's going on over here. All right, this is at the beginning of the game. After you get out, this is also a very open area.
Multiple Covenant dropships on approach.
See, this save does not have any graphical tearing or anything like my other one did. I don't remember. I left the game open too long, probably for about a whole day's worth, just being open, just sitting there. I didn't die, actually. My thing was still at half charge, so obviously has a great battery life. But yeah, when you're in these, some of these more intense areas, obviously it doesn't run. But it never drops below 30. We always hit 30, but the average for this game, I'd say, is probably 50 FPS on these settings, which is just kind of like medium textures. If I turn everything down to the minimum rough decals, it would probably run just 60 the whole time, which I might switch to. And you can also play on lower resolutions that are 16:9, or you can play with 2 black bars on the side, and they actually run better. This game ran very well just on the 800 by 600 resolution. It ran, dare I say, perfectly. It ran over 60 FPS every time. It didn't drop below 60. As you can see, I don't have muzzle flash or anything, so I turned that off. But in these enclosed areas, you're going to hit like 70 FPS with this resolution. So go to settings real quick. We'll go down to video setup, and we will turn decals off. We will turn textures to low, and we'll turn particles off, and that will increase our game so much more. Look, we're hitting 80 FPS now, 80, 70s, hitting 60, looking up, around. I mean, we're not dropping below 50 anymore. Now, there we go. We dropped a little bit, but if you play on the lower resolutions, it feels great. Even when the frame drops are there, I don't really feel them. I'm gonna be real. You can't really feel the change in the. I would definitely recommend. When you do your settings, I would honestly recommend. I think 960 by 540, I'm pretty sure is what I'm thinking. I don't remember if that's 16:9 ratio or not. Though these ones are bugged. So Some of the resolutions are bugged on this emulator for some reason, for whatever reason. It is. I don't really know why, but they are. There's some bugged resolutions on here. But I mean, 45 is really going to be your lowest part. Like the 40s are going to be your lowest FPS there. The GPU does get 100% usage here. But yeah, I mean, you sometimes do hit that 38 mark when it gets really intense. But I mean, in the less intense areas, you definitely are going to get over 60 FPS. This is overly playable. I've been playing through the entire campaign on this and enjoying it quite a lot. And that's really the reason why I want to make a video, is because of just how enjoyable this Winulator version of the game is to play on handheld. With the release of the new Xbox handheld, I couldn't get my hands on. Obviously, it's so expensive. So I want something that could at least run Halo. Combat Evolved just to play it. Halo 2 would have been nice, but I'm sure you get the MCC version working on here with GameHub, but it's definitely going to run it's not going to run as well, obviously. So with this being made for like Windows XP, so it's going to run a lot better on Winulator. And you don't need to, you could just keep it at Windows 10. I mean, obviously you can go down lower. It's compatible with Windows XP up, but Windows 10, Windows 7 is definitely the route to go when you're doing that. But like, see, we're hitting 30 FPS in some of these very intense areas with foliage and all that. But do take in mind this is a PC game running on a PC emulator, and it's running better than the original Xbox, so honestly it's not a bad experience. I'd take the FPS drop lower here than my computer just to play handheld any day of the week. This game feels great on handheld. I really wish Xbox would have made a cheaper handheld very similar to this, but running Windows instead of charging more than a Steam Deck for something that essentially is just a Steam Deck, but reskinned and Xboxified. It does run a special version of Windows, which is, I mean, cool, and I wish we would have that for all Windows computers, be able to close out of that, but obviously that's not the case. And this is the closest you're going to get to a nice running Halo Combat Evolved experience on handheld. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, I mean, it runs great. It's enjoyable. You got stuck, so I'm gonna choose that right there. But yeah, you can just play through the whole game, and you're gonna see a consistent frame rate. I'd say the average would be 50 frames per second out of the whole game you're playing, but it looks great, feels great. I mean, you could probably install the SPV3 mod on here, which looks amazing. Has so many extra features, and it'll probably run about the same, maybe a little bit worse because it's more graphically intensive. But it's still running the same engine, so it'll run about the same, so you probably get an average of like 45 instead of the average of 50. But I definitely do recommend playing Combat Evolved on here. I mean, it's a great experience. You can see there is a little bit of cutting on the screen here, because this is the exact resolution of the screen. It's obviously 1080p, and having that run on this would just definitely not give us the highest FPS we want. But yeah, this runs great. Driving the Warthog, and this feels nice. Feels like it was meant to be. Halo was meant to be played on this. Is kind of what it feels like, because the controls are just so nice with the analog sticks and the nice bumpers. So yeah, Halo Combat Evolved gets 10 out of 10 from me on this. It just runs well. It runs like an original Xbox, a little bit better actually. But yeah. So that's it when it comes to the Winulator. You can get plenty of other games to run on here through Winulator, probably like Fallouts and stuff. But with the amount of storage that this thing has, and I don't have an SD card in here because I don't have one set to exFAT that actually works in here. It works all intents and purposes. It works just fine. It runs everything great. GameCube, there's plenty of people out there doing emulator stuff. I just want to see what kind of native games this, but what kind of PC games can this play, / popular games on the Xbox / Windows Microsoft ecosystem, because this is the Logitech and it was kind of made for Xbox to be their Xbox handheld. So yeah, this overall console, for the price I got it for, I gave it a 10 out of 10. But if you were to get this at the launch price, which I think was abysmal, I don't even remember what price it was. I'll probably put it up here on the screen somewhere. But came out pretty expensive. But this is, this is 3 years later. And 3 years later, this console still holds up. Catch you on the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one.